Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, let me move this
Morning,
mic.
all.
Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. All right, let's get these right here. All right, and put that right here. All right, so I appreciate you guys rocking with us and hanging with us. If I've not said it on my replay viewers, if you're on Periscope, um, please go over to YouTube. Periscope will be shutting down March 31st, as you probably know. Blessings, Lisa. Thank you for rocking with us every morning. Um, so make sure you go to our YouTube page because I know some people that are on Periscope, they don't mess with Facebook. So everybody does YouTube. I've
Hmm.
yet to meet anybody that protests against YouTube yet. So go over to YouTube and follow us there. Good morning, V. Great morning to you. I appreciate you guys rocking with
Morning,
us.
B. Morning, Lisa.
Yes, indeed. So let's see, where do I got that? I got that right there. So this is your opportunity to share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. And let everybody know that the brothers are in the building. If you missed last night's Sisters of Legacy, we was on there, had a very interesting conversation. So definitely go back and watch that replay. I think I posted. If you're on Facebook, you'll see it on the Brothers of Legacy timeline. So just go back one, and it's right there. If anything, just Google because they're on Periscope and YouTube as well. So definitely check it out. It was a great conversation. And check out the other conversations the ladies have had as well because some of them have gotten pretty deep. Let's see.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mama Corey in the building. Great morning to you. Um, what else? What else? What else? Sharing, tagging, all that great stuff. Let somebody know about us. Let everybody know what's going down. And I and I've been kind of last minuting my peoples about this topics and subjects. Good morning, sweetie Bop. Good morning. What's up,
Hey,
cool?
Cole.
Great morning to
Morning,
you.
Sam.
Um, and this morning I kind of got inspired. I kind of flew into a clubhouse and some interesting conversation. So it kind of inspired me for today. I know today is Hot Topic Wednesday, but I kind of shifted that programming note, a little change in what we normally talk about. But we're gonna dig into hot topics as well because we always talk about what's going on. All right, so it's so funny. You see that, Master? Hold on, look up real quick. He said the Cowboys are champions in this century.
You know,
Always, right?
my,
Always champions.
it's the power of the Holy Ghost
No.
constrains me from responding to useless rhetoric. Yes, the Cowboys are champions. They are champions daily, championing the mindset, man.
All
Says the
right,
says
guys.
the loser.
All right, let's get into it. We'll be right back. I didn't want to catch
Good
that
morning,
first
good
on
morning, good
camera.
morning, good morning.
Welcome to another
I'll be right
edition
back.
of Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, everybody? Oh man, Cole says, "Good to see you laugh heartily, man." All right, so where is that? At? Where did I just put it? All right, so we're talking about the value of relationships. And it's and I was in the room and a young lady was on and she was speaking. Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning, Dwayne. Oh, real quick pause. Appreciate all my podcast people. Thank you for rocking and listening and hanging out with us as well. Make sure you rate and review whatever podcast app you are using, especially if you're on Apple, because it matters. It helps with our ranking, so we can get to the top, to the tippity top. Sports card lady. Good morning, Cheryl in the building. Um, so a young lady, she had just gone on the app. Her Twitter followers are like, not Twitter, Instagram followers are like 1,500. But she had been on Clubhouse for a while, and she went to like 10,000 followers, and she's into
Ooh.
a multitude of things and does certain, like she's in science and art and creative and things of that nature. And she said something that was that she said when she said it in a room, she actually got into a debate with people. She was like, she said, I got 10,000 people. And she's like, I would like to know who these people are. Like I would like to at least try to connect with people that are following, like find out why, what did I say, or, just to kind of, she was like, build a real community, because it's one thing to just have people following you, listening to you, but you want to know why and maybe what can you do to help them, not in like a selling a business way, but who can I connect you with? She's like, build a real community. And I found that very interesting. She was like, I got all these followers, but like, I want to know who they are, you know. So she said, so she's been like people that been following her and Clubhouse have been like, she's like, I want you guys to go on my Instagram page and DM me, tell me how you found me. She said, so I've been responding back. She's like, so I'm building like real relationships as opposed to just followers. And I found that very interesting. I was like, it's different because for the most part in social media land, people build followers and they may connect, more or less to sell something or to build a business and things of that nature. But rarely do I hear someone genuinely want to connect with the people that are following them in that manner. Especially once you get to those kind of numbers. What's up, Shay? Good morning. He said, yes, community is so much better than just followers. Exactly. And it's funny, I had a shirt that I made, build relationships, not just followers. Um,
It's kind of like religion, religion over relationship, relationship over religion.
Religion, right, right, right. So today I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit, kind of the value of relationships, um, because like even with our community, the people that come in and watch the show, as we grow and the numbers grow, there is in my mind I want to make sure that I stay connected with those, especially unfortunately, unfortunately, and probably fortunate for some, you know, people can come in and I can't really see everybody that's here unless you comment or say something, because I would love to call out those that are in the back, like, hey, you know, what you doing, where you from, call out by name, because more than likely if I could see them, they could, at least speak up, but more than likely they hanging in the background for a reason. Um, but I love this part of it because it allows us to kind of build our own community. We have the stage, but it's not like we're above, it's just we're on screen. And everyone's just having an opportunity to chime in, and it shapes our conversation, which is why, of course, when people get reckless in the comments, we block them because it takes away from what's being said from us and from the people that are in the comment section. So where am I going with this? So today I just want to talk about the value of relationships, and to you guys, like, how do you maintain relationships online, especially if it's those that you've never met or never seen, or never met, may have seen but never had a close connection with. In church is kind of, if the church is a certain size, it's kind of easier to maintain relationships. When they explode, you kind of have to be more intentional and systematic with staying connected with, when it gets over the 500 and gets to the 1,000, and I know, Pastor, you were in leadership over big churches, and so you can kind of speak to how do you stay connected when you have massive growth. How do you keep those connections where people still feel a part? Because when you start feeling like you're a number, you feel like if I'm here or not, it doesn't matter. you know and for all those that are here now, it does matter that you're here, because it speaks volume to what you want to get and what you need to learn. And when you comment, we get to learn who you are as well.
Well, if you are, I mean, you use the church as an example.
Right.
If you are a leading shepherd, a leading pastor, and you have 5,000 members, you have 500 members. You're not going to be able to manage 500 relationships effectively,
Right. Okay.
right?
Right.
When the crowd got too large, God said divide them up into tribes,
Right.
choose out leaders.
Right.
So there is a difference between a personal relationship and visionary leadership and your network,
Right.
if that makes sense. So when someone says, I want to get to know all these people, I have 500 followers, I want to get to know everybody. Okay, so your full-time job is managing how many times you say hi, how you doing in a
Right.
day, right?
Right.
I mean, Shay says Shay agrees with this, but the question is, what is the goal?
Right.
Because relationships validate health.
Right.
A healthy lifestyle includes healthy relationships. I think we're tribal by nature. We need to have those connections. We need to have
Right.
those people around us.
Right.
But I just think that a relationship for the sake of saying I know somebody is fruitless. What is the purpose? What's
Right.
the drive? Where are you going
Right.
with it?
Right. I
And
mean,
that otherwise it's just a contact.
right. I mean, like knowing, right? You can't have, like you said, a fruitful relationship with everybody, but it's just like having maybe the initial contact, and then moving forward, and then finding those that are more, maybe more into your inner circle, but you give an opportunity to connect, if that makes sense.
It does, but I what I learned from being a part of large organizations
Right.
is how much I appreciate smaller circles.
Right. Wow. Got
Well,
you.
and I know it's not relationships directly, but since you're talking about large organizations, for me, the military kind of showed how to do that. You got a command structure, so to speak. You got commanders. Beneath them, you have company commanders for smaller units, down to the platoon and the squad size. So you're talking about from 3,000 all the way down to the five, and there's people in place at every level. So I guess in a environment like this, you're gonna have to get ready to hire staff. Ad, let me tell you that. I say it that way
All right.
because there are gonna be people who are gonna be wanting to reach out and wanting to connect, and there's just not enough of Ad, Dwayne, Brian, Terry, and Ephraim to go around. Like so, you're gonna have
I,
to.
I have people mad at me now
That you don't reach out.
because they don't hear from me enough.
Oh.
You know,
Access is a intimate
Right.
thing.
Right. Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So, relationships are critical, but I do but you have to keep it manageable, or else there's no real benefit.
Right.
When people come together in a relationship, you are looking for something.
Right.
There's always a motive. The question is whether it's healthy or unhealthy.
Right.
So there has to be a purpose for the relationship.
Right.
You my friend just because we're friends. We know, well, what are we doing with this friendship? Where are we going? Where's this headed? As grown men, we can hang out, but we can only hang out once in a while because there's other responsibilities. So what is it really? There has to be some level of understanding. I have friends that I've known for 40 years. You know, I have guys right now. I mean, I literally, and I think Shay said it, through social media.
Right.
Social media has allowed me to rekindle relationships, guys that I
Right.
hadn't talked to in over 30 years,
Right.
and now we are as close as we've ever been, all the way
Right.
back from high school.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I have guys that I didn't even hang out with in high school with, but because of social
Right.
media,
Right.
are friends with me now, and we're
Right.
closer than we ever were.
Right.
So I think, and the purpose of those relationships is reminiscing. We talk about the old times. We come together. We have good times. We compare life stories. How far we have come. So but that's purpose.
Right.
That's purpose. You
Right.
know.
Yeah, I think social media has um the tech has hyper connected us. You know, like where before, Pastor, you would have to literally call every friend to have a 1 to 5 minute conversation. Hey, I was doing everything good, everything good, everybody all right, good. I'll talk to you later. You know, but now you can kind of like have laughs in your messenger. They send you something. Oh, remember this? Then you can connect with like 10 people within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, from with conversation. You know, and everybody just has a quick joke or two. You know, so how social media has definitely connected us better,
Yeah.
quicker. Because you can, and even texting, like someone texts you something, like, hey, you remember such and such? You like, yeah, yeah. And even while you're in a meeting, like, yeah, I remember that. And get back to the meeting.
Yeah.
Convenience. It gives us convenience.
Convenience, right. Oh,
See, see, you see what Shay just wrote? That's
yes.
exactly the point.
She said, I will
I will
never
never
keep.
keep anyone in my circle
Hmm.
where it's not conducive for my growth, healing, and certainly not yes people.
Right.
I have people in my life that's only for me to benefit them. Then I have those that I can pour into, right?
Nice.
That see, she's talking about setting an expectation. I mean, she has an internal expectation
Rotation.
because
Right.
for some of those, I would say, Shay, they don't even know your internal expectation, but they will find out
Right.
just by your response to them,
Right.
you know,
Right.
And
So,
sometimes they can't even understand your response to them because that's their purpose.
because they're not authentic, they're not genuine, right?
right. Right. He says, it's a righteous idea, but you can't be accessible to everyone. It's not feasible nor wise. Shay says, meeting people for me is about where they fit in my life and where do I fit in their life. Is it business? Is it healing? Is it for season or is it for friendship? Cole also says now face to face is still the best way to forge a connection, but the OJ song Backstabbers
Smile in your face.
Here it
proves
is.
how
I'm trying to
even
take
those
your picture.
interactions can be faulty.
Backstabbers.
Right.
Backstabbers.
Shay says recently made another amazing connection, not just messaging, but actually through Zoom calls to connect visually. People can
Yeah,
say one thing on text, but if you see them, then you can see if they are really okay.
yeah,
And this social media and live stream like this is proof that you don't necessarily have to depend on face to face interactions for connections.
My
Um,
brothers. My
yes, indeed.
brothers.
Let's see. He said, "I love Zoom calls." So, do yeah, sure will.
oh, I think she's going back to saying yes, she sets expectations, but my
Okay.
thing is I've learned that there are people that have a relationship with me in their mind, but I don't have a relationship with them.
Ooh.
That's a fact of life, though.
Right.
Position versus perception.
That's what I mean when I say you can't set these expectations with everybody because some people you know who they are within the first 5 minutes of making
Right.
contact.
Right.
And they may think long term and you think 5 minutes was the extent of it.
Right.
And
Because
so you're not going, you know, like you're not going to cast your pearls amongst the swine, you know. Uh, so I mean
Like,
that's just life. It's
I,
just
and,
life.
and it's
right.
true. Like, I had a funny, not so funny story about what you just said, Pastor. You watch Black Hawk Down?
Yes.
You remember Colonel Steele, the guy that was walking around when they brought the trucks in and he got shot in the ear
You
or
got
whatever?
shot. Right. Uh-huh.
Well, he was one of my commanders when I was at 101st in
Hmm.
Fort Campbell in Kentucky. The crazy thing is, whenever anybody who wasn't in the army watched that movie, I was like, "Hey, that was my commander." That man don't remember from the next person, but he
Right.
was my
Right.
commander. And
Right.
like I remember, like in the morning, he would have an old truck and he have a harness on, and he'd come pull the truck through our PT area just to show off a little bit. So I had a relationship with him, but
Right.
I didn't have access like that to him. So some people in your life, you're there to make them better, like Shay said,
Right.
and it is what it is. But the flip side of that, they don't have the access to you that maybe they have in other people's lives because I had access to other people um, where I can go in and they were somebody, so to speak, or whatever.
Right.
But just because you got a relationship, it doesn't determine set the level of access you have. And I think when we talk about the value of relationship, what we're talking about, the value is the access because I have access to these brothers. I ain't gonna go into detail about these things, but there's times where I've called Pastor up and I was like, "Hey, you got a minute?" And
Right.
he was like, "Yeah," and I could and he can pour back into me.
Right.
But not everybody who sees him and knows his name has that access to him.
Right. Right.
Right. Right.
Um.
And it's again it's not trying to be mean or it's not a means to reject people. It is just life. It is human nature, and sometimes you know our values are different. There is a
Right.
value that someone could put on me, and it's not reciprocal. I'll never forget when I was a young person in ministry. I was at a church. My leader was a great man of God, very accomplished. And I was working for the church, and I never forget. I felt like because I was an employee
Oh.
that I had access,
All right.
right? But he had his Peter, James, and John.
Uh.
You understand? And
Right.
so I'm trying to, I want to let him know how much I want to get connected to him. And he's
Right.
talking to me, he's encouraging me, and all the while he's got his hand in my back and he's guiding me to his door.
Wow.
He's talking me right on out the door, right?
Right.
In a
Right. Right.
loving way. He's like, yes, absolutely. I'm so excited. And he's just talking and we just are walking. And next thing you
Right.
know, I'm outside the door. And but
Right. Right. Right.
I learned from that experience, I realized it's not that he disliked me,
Right.
but the value that I placed on him was not the same value he placed on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that can be painful sometimes.
It can.
And it's it doesn't the problem is I think Cole said it. I think Cole said it just a minute ago. DMX, he said
Oh yeah.
You thinking life? I'm
you
thinking
think
your
in life,
life tonight.
and I'm thinking like this tonight. And he's giving me a message to
Right.
encourage me for the day. And
Right.
I'm looking for a connection that's going to last for
Lifetime.
months,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Right.
that can be painful when you
Yes.
put too much expectation on an individual and
Right.
they don't see what you see in the relationship,
Right. Mm.
But you
right?
better
And we
start
get
talking
mad
to
at
people.
people.
Talk to him, Pastor.
We get mad at people for that. I mean, the lesson is, don't put too much stock. Let the
Right.
relationship work its way out, and then you'll see in time whether or not it's a keeper. Uh,
Right.
Seasons and reasons. Seasons
yeah,
and reasons.
absolutely, absolutely.
Oh.
You can't get mad at people for having a different set of priorities,
Right. Right.
right? Which is
Right.
why the peace of God is so important.
Right.
You know, uh, Dwayne's peace. I hope he has peace, but I can't control whether or not he has peace.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if I'm spending more time concerned about his level of peace, then I don't have peace. I
Right.
need to be more concerned about my peace. And so when it comes to relationships, your peace of mind is the most valuable, the most critical component. So don't let any relationship interrupt your peace.
Right. Right.
I,
That's
I
real.
think I think that might be the barometer.
Right.
Right.
So
If it's a real relationship, it does not interrupt your peace.
right. And so at the same time, like you said, in your mind, you was like, yo, I want to get in this inner circle. I want to be the Jeffrey from the Peter, James, and John. Like I want to be the extra dude, Like, so or the Paul. Like, can I get in this circle? But he was like, for him, it was just like, I'm just pouring into you. This is your moment. I'm just pouring into you. Either it just wasn't set up for you guys to connect like that, because like I'm not the dude that you're gonna connect with. This is not the time.
Right.
But at the same time, for him, it was like, I don't want to ignore this level of connection. Like he
I
would
was
just say,
looking, I was looking for this much,
right,
but he was only offering this much.
right, right,
Look,
Don't misunderstand
right,
your relationship. Sometimes you're looking
right.
for a gallon and all they have is a cat full.
Got fo. Right, right,
and I'm not going to say that this was the way you looked at it, Pastor, but for me, um, and many people out there, you got to be careful. Their validation only comes from one source. Should only come from one source,
right,
Yeah.
and that's self validation through the Holy Spirit. However,
Right.
we mess ourselves up and we open ourselves up to hurt because we're vulnerable because we're seeking validation.
Right.
I was in a similar position, and there was the pastor at a former ministry.
Right.
I'm doing everything trying to get this man's attention. Hey, I can teach the word of God. Hey, I can preach. Hey, I can do it like this person.
Right.
Oh, here's the catcher. I'm actually not at the club, and they at the club. I mean, and
Like
and
I
I'm
got
like,
pictures. I
I'm
got
right here.
pictures.
Hey, I'm right here.
Right.
And it was like Pastor said, it was like, hey, brother, yeah, I like your praise. Hey,
Right.
brother, I love your spirit. And God bless you. And I'm just like, huh? I'm here every day. I'm like, I volunteered to clean the church up. I was
Yeah,
like, and these dudes, they got pictures taking shots.
yeah,
But you're right, Pastor. And sometimes God will prevent you from connecting on that level with certain people to save yourself.
yeah,
So you got to know where your validation comes
You
from.
know, and it's funny. Like, okay, let me go back to one of Shay's comments that she said. Um, so it said, introverts find it hard to put themselves out there to connect with others. I'm honestly shy, but I'm passionate about God's business, and sometimes I need to push beyond my comfort zone to show others how God has moved in my life. And I'll say for myself, like, like Dwayne's more ambitious. Like for me, it's like I'm here, I'm gonna just work, until one day I'm like, I think I talked to Pastor like 5 times this week. Like, wait a minute, like, has our relationship shifted? And for me, it just kind of it always sneaks up on me, like, hey, I guess we connected a little more than don't, because he's been giving me the cap full, but now it's like I'm getting a little bit more, like I think he gave me a
Yeah.
little more, like he's calling me as we do it, like, okay, all right, yeah, all right, and it for me it's always snuck up on me, those
yeah.
relationships. Like I take what you give me. Like if you usher me to the door, like, all right, we cool. I'm like, all right, I guess that's it.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm gonna just go
Well,
on.
no, I think the reality is that it's sometimes it's constantly a cap full,
Right, right,
right?
right. That
But
too.
over
That too.
time,
Right,
over time, it's a tanker truck full
right.
of
Yeah.
information
Information.
From a
Right,
because it's
district.
constantly being poured out little by little.
right.
Because
Look.
some people want a gallon in an hour,
Right,
right?
right, right,
But what a relationship should be is over time
right,
we continue to grow,
right.
right? And to I think Dwayne said it, we may make the mistake
Yes.
of meeting someone or getting connected to somebody and wanting the whole gallon right now today. And I don't have a
Right,
gallon to give you today. I've got a
right,
capful to give you today.
right,
But hey, we ain't going nowhere but to heaven. I'll still be around next week in Jesus' name.
right,
You
right,
know,
right,
and we cut
right,
ourselves off because I didn't get a gallon full
gallon.
today,
Right,
not realizing if God wake us up tomorrow, there's another opportunity,
right.
right? Uh,
Who
so
I was just gonna say, who was that comedian that was like, no, I want all mine now.
right,
Right,
That's what we be like.
comedian or the prodigal son.
right, right, right. Right
Wow,
now, like right
wow.
now. Oh, let's see. Hold on. Let's see. I said right past exactly. So if they don't bring you peace, that's unfortunate. Well, yeah, that's the flip side. Like if someone's constantly disturbing your circle, you can't let them you can't let them get too close because they just bring in mess, or just always it's some drama or something. It's always something that's just like
Can,
not
can
not good. Go
can
ahead.
I speak to Ashley's point? Ashley,
Yeah.
check this out. When your peace is disturbed, sometimes we don't know how to maintain it or to put it back together. I'm gonna give you an example. Adam and Eve became a threat to themselves, to their own peace, right? So God had to expel them out the garden. And then he put an angel at the entrance so they couldn't get back in because they messed their own peace up. And at the time they didn't know how to get back there. So sometimes we put ourselves in position where we jack our peace up. Thankfully, you got a God that loves you, and sometimes he removes people for you.
Right.
So some of those people that ends up out of your life, and you like, what did I do? What's wrong with me? No, God just loved us enough sometimes to be like, hold on, you can't do it, so let me put you over here. Let me put up this guard
and,
for you.
and and don't lose sight of the fact that there's a second time around possibly.
Right.
You know, I'll never forget that this same man of God that ushered me out the door. A couple of years later, I was in another city, and he flew all the way to that city to support me at an event.
Wow.
Again, because I was under his leadership for a season,
Right.
and he gave me capfuls at a time,
Right.
right? And what happened is, he found out that there was more to me than what he saw that day in the office. So he
Right.
remained connected,
Right. Right.
and when I made the call, he came and supported me and
Right.
told me that it was my consistency
Right.
that kept him connected. It
Right.
wasn't me going after him. He just watched me work.
Right.
To
That's
actually,
it.
I would say this: sometimes we think that someone is disrupting our peace, but it could very well be that we were already interrupted,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
There are certain people that come into your life and they catch you in a particular space and time, and you weren't prepared for that connection at that time. And when it doesn't work out, the words don't match, the mindset doesn't match. And we blame the other person like they've disrupted us. But the reality is, sometimes I'm not saying that you were disrupted, actually. I'm just
Right.
saying that sometimes
Right.
where we are is not conducive to that season,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so
Right.
we can come back around to that thing and be like, wow, I just wasn't ready then. And now I'm in a better place, or I'm in a different place, maybe not so much better. I'm in a different place. I can't tell you the number of times that I met somebody and they rubbed me totally the wrong way. Met them years down the line. I'm like, wow, you are good people,
It's the first word
right?
was just like, what do you mean by that? You
Right.
just
At the
shut them down.
time,
Like,
my vision was obscured,
right.
or their behavior. I got a snapshot, right? How many
Right.
people get in trouble because somebody got a snapshot of your life and they have now
Gotta
defined
apologize.
the
They gotta
snapshot?
apologize to bodies for a snapshot. Hey, yeah, I made a joke back then, but I was in high school and I was just having fun with the fellas. I ain't really mean that. I'm just talking.
Right. Right. Oh,
Yeah.
going to Cole said something good. He said, "My wife understand. My wife doesn't understand that I am uber selective with whom I spend my time. I see if a person can pour into me because I know I pour into them. But when pour until I'm running on empty. I have to be in solitude to recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, he dropped a nugget and didn't even know he was dropping one. That uber selective, I know he was just using a nice variety of vernacular there. But once upon a time when I drove for Uber, I would every now and then, like New Year's Eve, I would drive the Porsche and I
Right.
would drive Uber Select, which and look, Uber Select is a whole nother level of access.
Right.
If you want to pay for it, you can get access to it, but not
Right.
everybody has access to it, or not everybody's willing to
Willing to
pay the
pay
extra. Yeah,
to get
so
access. That's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
yeah, so Cole, you dropped one without even dropping it, bro.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some
I'm like
relationships
you.
cost more than others. Will cost you more
Yes.
than others.
Right. He said, "Love in the wrong hands is worse than hate, whether in man or woman relationship or friendship." Let's see. People will watch their social media as well to see if you're the same person online as you are when they talk to you. True. Totally online and off. Totally same online and offline. Richard said, "People judge people off of what they think you'll be like."
Absolutely.
But that's
That's
why I
deep.
say, I think we talked about this a couple of days ago, and I even preached about it last Sunday, that relationships are, I look at, because there's a difference between a relationship and a partnership.
Right.
Earlier, Shay, you said expectations. See, those, so a partnership is something that has expectations set.
Right.
Relationships are volatile.
Right.
I realize that relationships are based on emotion, and something serious with purpose is a
Right.
partnership. and that's based on emotional integrity.
Right.
So I look at relationships that are based on where you are, and partnerships are who you are, right? You have to understand that a relationship may not last long because they're seasonal.
All
They're
right.
absolutely seasonal.
Right.
Partnerships are more stringent. Partnerships are more constructive
Right.
because partnerships have purpose. There's
Right.
agreement. You know,
So
there's
so would you
expectation.
so would you say the difference is accountability then?
Well, I think accountability works in either case, right? Because it goes back to, you can be in a relationship with someone, but that person you're in a relationship with is in a relationship with five, 10 other people,
Yeah, like my command, like Colonel Steele.
Okay.
right? That doesn't make them a bad person, right? Because they don't
Hmm.
have time that you think they have. And that's why I say sometimes you can put value on something, whereas in someone else's eyes, it doesn't carry the same level of value.
Right.
So we have to be careful. That's why discernment,
Oh,
insight
I
is
love
a
the D
critical.
word.
Yeah, you have to have that so that you know what you're dealing with. But that begins at home. That begins internally,
Right.
right? No one should be able to control the barometer of my emotional state but me.
Right. Right.
That's real. And when people begin to do that, it's not their fault. It's your fault.
Right.
People are going to do what you allow them to
Allow them
do.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to have expectations of your own personal self so that you're not abused or misused. Now, don't get me wrong; you can be nice to people. There's an old saying: I believe everything you say
Until
until
you
you
show
show
me
me different."
different. Come
Right.
on now.
Right.
That's it. That's really it. And then it's up to me to decide what I'm going to do when those revelations are happening.
True.
Yes, boundaries of self. Absolutely.
True. Um, because a lot of times you might not, cut them off, but you just kind of push them further outside your circle. It's like your access becomes limited. It's kind of like, like an account. Like you got too much going on, so we limiting your access because I'm
Yeah.
checking for shenanigans. Now I got to put you through the shenanigan filter because now that you've shown a different side, it's like, you're still a decent person, but I can't use a little shenanigan like, and I can't be associated too close to that. Like some people do the work, but they got some shenanigans going on. It's like, I can't get caught up in your shenanigans. You work hard, but I can't get caught up in your shenanigans.
It's like okay, so someone said this.
Cut that
They
shit
said
off.
relationships look simple on the outside, but
Right.
can be twisted, right, on the inside. Can be jacked up on the inside.
Looks like a
Uh,
motherboard.
right. You ever go to a restaurant? Anybody ever had creme brulee? No.
I've had
I
it
mean,
a couple times. It's all right.
it's I well,
That.
it's considered a high end
Yeah.
Right, right.
Right. Right.
and
Right. Yeah.
right, and but what it looks great, it looks fantastic, but not everybody can make it.
Right. Right.
I think that's why I said look all right, because I attempted to make it and that joker it fell on me every time. Phew.
Yeah, because it takes patience
Right.
and detail
Right.
to make it right.
Right.
And so, not only do you get a beautiful outcome, but you have a beautiful flavor too.
Right.
And it takes something. Yeah, Cole, you're absolutely right. If you don't take care of yourself, you'll never be able to have a creme brulee type relationship.
Right.
You can fake it,
Right.
but it'll be jacked up on the inside, and it collapses because you didn't take the time. Woo! Some of y'all get in relationships and you don't take the time to get to know somebody, and you wonder why it
Hello.
falls,
Yes.
why it collapses.
You said
Right.
the most important piece to any relationship. And I just want to highlight it because I think most people got it, but I just want to make sure that you heard it. Relationships start with you.
Yes.
It's all about how you relate to somebody else or to something else, but it starts with you. If you're jacked up, if you're broken, if you're blind, if you need corrected vision and you don't get those things fixed, if you don't address those issues, every single relationship you ever be in Every partnership you ever be in is going to end the same way. This is why a person can get divorced after divorce after divorce and still dealing with the same thing. I'm speaking like Pastor Brian when he said, I only talk about stuff that I lived through. I'm only talking about stuff that I lived through. You want to be messed up relationally? Keep doing the same thing over and over, and don't get resolution to the problems that cause you to keep that get put out of a relationship or to walk out of a relationship.
Right.
You got to fix you first.
Right. Right. That that is definitely key. Knowing self, knowing who you are, knowing who you can be around, knowing your circle. Because a lot of times, letting the wrong, like we talked about previous, the peace and letting people disturb, your inner circle, disturb, all that's happening. And like Pastor was saying,
Yeah.
I listen to you till you prove me wrong, and then now you have to be limited. You have to be, in Sam's case, you have to be cut off, from
Yeah,
having
they
the
cut
access,
that tick off.
because you are disturbing the circle, because there are times that you and I know we've done it. We've let somebody in, and they've kind of thrown things off. You're like, okay, you disturbing everything that I'm trying to set up here. So
Yep.
now
Put
my
your mask
access,
on.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, access is limited.
Hmm.
So so with that, right? How how do you build uh the quality relationships that, because we've always talked about the confidant, the constituent, the comrades, and things of that nature. Um, how do you feel like you place them? And what's the closest one? That would be the comrade. Am I correct? The comrade is
Hmm.
probably the closest one. Um,
Yeah.
how do you have moments when, or would you say there are seasons where someone's a comrade and then they become a constituent, or they
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
out of the circle?
You can. I always use so comrade is like that teammate. You're on the
Right,
same team.
right,
Comrades have the same enemy. They have a common enemy.
Hmm.
Constituents have a common goal.
right,
So you can meet someone and have some things in common with each other and make a decision that we're going to form or build a project.
right,
In that case, a comrade becomes a constituent.
right,
What the question is, and you think of that constituent, is like, okay, we're gonna build a building together. That's the
right,
project, right?
Hmm.
So in order to erect this building, we've got to put up the scaffolding.
right,
So the constituent is like that person who's going to help you build this building. They're going to be
right,
that scaffolding.
right,
And so now
right,
that the building has been erected, does the person still bring value?
right, right.
Were they
Do
in there
do
for
the
the purpose
influence
of
matter?
helping you build the building?
Right,
Because the problem is that a constituent can go back to being a comrade and then change teams.
right,
And sometimes your greatest uh, adversary is the friend who knows all your secrets,
right, right, right.
right?
That's true.
Because when a comrade changes teams and he knows your game plan, now he knows how to destroy you.
Right, right,
So that's the reason why discernment has to be critical.
true.
And you have to understand seasons of time, seasons in your life, and be able to recognize who's who in your life, because you can make a grave mistake giving somebody your plan, your strategy, and they're not a confidant, someone
Right,
that you can tell your innermost secrets to,
right,
because you
right,
do good to have two or three of those in your lifetime. I think those boundaries are first the ones you have to set up within yourself.
right,
What kind of people am I really drawn to? What kind of people do I really share things with? Who are those people in my life?
right,
And sometimes it's an evolution of a relationship, but you still have to be careful.
right,
I live my life guarded, but I don't live my life closed minded.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not afraid of being hurt by somebody
Right. Right.
because I know what the outcome is. I know that I have to make a decision on where I go after the pain.
Right. Right.
And that's how I can maintain my peace. But if I live my life where I never want to deal
Fear.
with people because I'm afraid of getting hurt,
Right.
then I'm not living in peace.
Right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
That is true. Cole said, "There are seasons of relationship hierarchy. To me, it depends on your own growth in life. Sometimes a comrade can become an adversary, considering how you mature in life, and vice
Yes.
versa." Shay says, "Having that bond means it's being watered, fertilized, plucking the dry areas, honesty, transparency. Can you can you be you and you able to receive what you need to keep growing?"
See, that's
Interesting.
partnership.
Right.
That right, what you're talking about right there is partnership because certain people will connect with you and they're going to love you as long as you say the right thing.
Right.
But the minute you
Yes.
say something that's contrary to
Right.
their disposition,
By
you know,
Lance.
Right.
yeah, and then they don't want to deal with you anymore.
Right.
You know, they love giving you advice, but they won't receive any from you.
Right.
You ever had anybody like that? They're gonna love you. They're gonna be your friend, but the minute you have a disagreement, if every disagreement blows up, you
Yeah.
know,
Right.
if you have those people that as long as you're saying what they like to hear, you have a
Right.
relationship. That's not
It's
healthy.
not good. Right.
It's just not healthy.
It's Cole said, to your
Facts.
point, wonderful point, Pastor. When I was divorced, I lived my life closed minded. The guard was up so much I hurt others in order to protect myself. I
Right.
totally regret that. Yeah.
And
Because it's
everybody's
yeah, it's outward facing, and yeah, you got to go inward and get yourself together inside internally, or you're going to be the pain on other people. And what's funny, what's amazing, Cole, is we'll do that and we blame them
Right.
for not
Right.
being able to put up with us.
Right. Right. What are you
Ooh.
about to say, Dwayne?
No, I was just gonna say, everybody's talking about peace, and it's absolutely right. But I want to make sure we got a healthy understanding of what peace actually is, because most of us like to think that peace means an absence of war or no tumultuous times or no turmoil. That's not the definition of peace.
Mm-mm.
Peace, peace means that everything that God created is functioning the way He created it to. It means that there's nothing missing. It means that there's nothing broken. That there's harmony. That
Right.
so don't mistake tumultuous times and the external beating down as a lack of peace.
Right.
Because if you remember, Job, he still had peace.
Right.
It didn't look like what we equate peace to, but Job still had peace because everything that God had put in him was still working and
Right.
functioning. That's why when he at the end of all the trials, Job still stood. We can't get discouraged because we go through things.
Right. True. True. Ain't that the truth? Oh, Richard said if you tell friends your secrets, and yeah, that's the people that you're close to. Sometimes you reveal weak moments, um, and unfortunately, that can turn around on you. But sometimes it's the cost of relationships. We build them up. There's a cost. There's a risk always involved in every relationship that you build. No matter the status, no matter the
Absolutely.
situation, there's always a risk. Like we we discuss a full project, then you turn around, you look online, you're like, wait, I I thought I thought it was gonna be me and you, and then you see they building it up, they got the scaffold up, they doing their own building. You're like, wait, I thought we just discussed this project together. So every relationship has a
Oof.
risk. Every relationship has a risk, and
Yeah.
and like Pastor said, you can't. And even Cole, like you can't be so close-minded that you don't want to build anything because you're scared someone's going to steal it from you, or
Yeah.
take something from you. It's annoying. Granted, it's annoying. It's
And it's
like,
a learning experience.
like how, and then you go through the how did I not see it? But you don't. It's we were cool. We was drinking, we was chilling. We was hanging out and discussing great things, and like you said, we you start to see long term. They just like, let me see what I can get tonight, and I'm out. Um,
Right.
it's those relationships. And as much as you put discernment in front, um, like Dwayne just said, peace is knowing that God's plan is working. And though you might get hurt in a relationship, there are learning experiences. There is something you get out of it. You know, and that project may not have been for you. So it's you can't beat yourself up for a decision that you made with a relationship. You understand what I'm saying? We just get wiser and we just get better. But some of our trials and tribulations are for us to learn something. And it sucks in the moment, but you're like, okay, either you know what to look for, or you just learn how to disperse information in a way to build a better relationship. So my point is, don't beat yourself up for a bad decision. Learn from it
Right.
and grow, because there's a
Right.
reason for it. It's not for you to get stuck. I would be a millionaire right now if man, just move on. Just move forward. It's all good. It happened. You have no
And but
reason.
the reality is sometimes it's not easy to just move on.
Right.
You
It's
know,
not. It's
sometimes
not.
there's lingering effects. I've learned that scar tissue is tougher than regular tissue.
for a
Right.
reason.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I am, I haven't always felt the way that I feel today. I think the peace comes with, and I said it earlier, is knowing that trouble will come. There are going to be disruptions, but you have to remember that today's news is tomorrow's history. Who was at the top of the news in your circle last week? You probably don't even remember because there's somebody else. There's some new drama today.
Come
So
on, sir.
right in that sense, what AD was saying is critical. We do have to get over. We do have to get past it because it's a fact of life. We're going to have some good days. We're going to have some bad days. We're going to have some quality relationships, and we're going to learn from those relationships that lacked quality. It's just a part of life. But you cannot grow in wisdom
Come on,
if
sir.
you have not been through anything. That's
Right.
just the reality.
And it's absolutely needed. I mean, that's why they call it growing pains. Nothing
Yeah,
grows without some type of friction,
Right.
without some type of resistance, and then on the outside of it, you're gonna feel the struggle. I
Right.
mean, without resistance, you're never gonna be molded and shaped.
Right.
Without resistance and obstacles, you're never gonna get to the next level. All of
Right.
those things come to make you. The enemy may send them to destroy you,
Right.
but what happens is they actually make you.
Right.
That's why we
Right.
overcome by testimony, by what we've been
Wow.
through, what we've gone from.
Right.
and
Right.
you'll never have a great relationship if you're never available.
Man, you sound like the Zen master of Michael Jordan. I remember I was watching Mike in the what's the series The Last Dance,
Right.
and they was like, well, Mike, well, how did you feel about always taking the last shot? He was like, you will never make a. He was like, you will miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Right. Right.
Right.
So what you just said was like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
had you twisted it on me there. You, you,
Yeah.
you did that little thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. That's the part right there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
you've been hurt, but you can't close off to everybody. You
It's
can't.
not the
You
end.
can't.
You know,
No, it's not.
you are a handshake away from your next level.
Right.
It's like
Right.
Shaquille O'Neal not playing in the paint because he got hit.
Right.
Can you imagine that?
Right.
Because he can't shoot.
Shaquille O'Neal is an NBA champion. He's one of the all-time greats. He is a Hall of Famer, and he
Right.
couldn't make free throws.
He had to bang down low.
Right.
He had to
Right.
get it in where he fit in.
Yeah, right. Right. Wow. Let that marinate. Let that sizzle in your spirit right there.
You got
Oh,
to take chances. You got to take
yeah, you
risks.
do. Definitely. Definitely. You got to take risks. Got to take risks. That is. It's all right. It's all right, Mark. One more time, and then you fired. One more time.
What up, Mark?
What up, Mark? James said, count it all joy when you fall into trials of many kinds. That is the ultimate key to getting into peace in this life. Life isn't the absence of obstacles.
Tribulation, work, and patience.
Right. Strength overcome them. Yes, indeed. Yes,
Many, many kinds. That means many people gonna come into your life and bring many kinds of problems.
right.
So you can discern all you want. Sometimes they're needed.
Right. Right.
Sometimes they're needed.
Right. Right. Because yeah, 'cause that's, people, I was like, you're not gonna catch it all. Just not gonna,
Right.
Sisters
just not
be
gonna
like,
crack it all.
I knew he was a dog the day I met him. I knew he was a dog, and I
Right.
did it anyway.
And look, you better be glad it only lasted 36 hours. See, that 36 hours saved you 30 years.
Yeah.
It's like Geico. 15 minutes can save you.
This edition of Brother Legacy is brought to you by Geico.
Geico.
All right, guys. Listen, so I appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. Thank you for showing up, for sharing. Man, it's always a pleasure being on here with my brothers, speaking to you guys. I never take this for granted because you guys, like I said, could be watching anything. So much TV you could be watching, but you hanging out with us. Appreciate you, Shay. Said awesome show, guys. Gotta go. Yes, indeed. Oh yeah, we're about to shut it down. Don't worry. You might miss a little bit of the foolery that's always happens at the end, but it's all good. Watch the replay. So like I said, make sure you share it now. You can still sharing anytime. Make sure you tag somebody, tag another guy, tag a couple, tag a friend, tag anyone that you feel like could be a part of this conversation, and help us grow. And if you're not and invited on the Facebook page, do so today. Make sure you hit that invite all your friends, family, neighbors, and everybody, so we can build this community. And like I said, these conversations about moving forward and getting better. Let's see. Cole says, "Gentlemen, love you as well, Cole. Thank you for
Love
the
you too, bro.
enlightening conversation.
We're gonna just get him
Blessings to you and your
we're gonna
wives."
get him like one of them portable cameras so he can just tag in whenever he got a moment. Cause look, bro, you keep talking like we bringing all this. You be dropping gems like 24
Bring it,
minutes.
Cole. Cole,
Yeah.
bring it smoke.
Yes, appreciate you, Cole. Yes, indeed. So
Mama McCrory.
Yes, Mama Corey.
Love you,
appreciate
Mom.
you for rocking with us. All right, we're gonna get out of here. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, same time, same channel. Stay safe. Keep your 6 feet. Keep wearing a mask. Yeah, keep wearing a mask, and always know that we love you, but God loves you more. Keep praying. Keep praying. I know if you're not communing in your church, continue to have worship service at home, and stay in your word and stay focused. It's all gonna work out for us good. So just stay focused. Don't let the situation or things that you might have lost keep you down. All right. So keep going. Keep pressing. I didn't want to catch that.
Good morning.